So good morning everyone. Today we're going to present you our first partial exam. Our team is conformed by Ramos Soto Sergio Diel, Salas Valles Ricardo Alan, Roman Hernandez Marta Andrea, and Cesar González Carmen Arturo. So I'm going to start explaining you how we can be international without losing our identity. And well, I believe that we share many things with others like our culture, our behaviors, our beliefs, and then we choose what do we keep from others. In the next slides, I will explain you about some examples about this. So, as we know, globalization is a process of interaction and integration between people, companies, and governments of different nations that driven by international trade and investment. This is a process of building a new civilization that implies the reduction of barriers around the world in which people are able to interact physically, culturally, and linguistically with any other human being in the world. In this situation, we can find that other countries are not very supportive sometimes, not always. Whenever a disaster takes place in a country like an earthquake or a hurricane, Mexican people always try to help others. But on the other hand, when Mexico needs help, many other countries don't care about it. This is where we can find that part of the identity of Mexican people is to see human life as something very important. Now, talking about economy, the economy we know that is a social science that seeks to analyze and describe the production, distribution, and consumption of wealth. It is the state of a country in terms of production and consumption of goods and services that supply and the supply of money. Here we can see that in different countries like the United States, people have the habit to save money for the future. On the other hand, here in Mexico, we don't have that habit. So in this situation, if an American decided to share this habit with a Mexican, then the Mexican will have the opportunity to choose to start with this good habit or decline this opportunity. Here we can remember that this economic system is explained for the individual actions, focus on the balance, and here the balance can be defined as the individual plans that are compatible with each other. Now, about culture, we know that it is the set of values, beliefs, communication, knowledge, customs, and practices that people share in common that can be used to define them as a collective. Here, the best example to let you know how we could keep our identity is to continue celebrating our traditional festivities, sharing things of our culture like traditional food, beliefs, or words of our language with others. And finally, identity. Identity can be understood as the characteristics, reputation, beliefs, behaviors, values of and culture of a person that makes the public think about them in a particular way, and that help us to be unique in the world. This is a psychological topic that can be summarized with three simple questions. Who are you? What do you want? And where do you go? If you can answer these questions, then you know that nobody can take away your identity because you're unique just the way you are.
1998, Carl Franklin describes sustainability in a short, clear sentence that goes: sustainability is characterized in terms of harmonizing three elements: economics, environment, and social equity. In 2080, Ben Eli describes sustainability as a dynamic equilibrium in the process of interaction between a population and the carrying capacity of its environment such that the population develops to express its full potential without producing irreversible adverse effects on the carrying capacity of the environment upon which it depends. Now, in 1987, the World Commission on the Environment developed published a book called Our Common Future, in which they describe sustainability as something that requires view of human needs and well-being that incorporate such non-economic variables as education and health enjoyed for their own sake, clear air and water, and the protection of natural beauty. It must also work to remove disabilities from disadvantaged groups.
Okay, we have the axes of sustainability, which are six. First is social, then ecological, economical, political, spiritual, and intellectual. The first one is social. Social, from the Latin socialis, is that belonging to or relating to society. We need to remember that society is understood as the set of individuals who share the same culture and who interact with each other to form a community. Social sustainability aims to preserve social capital by investing and creating services that constitute the framework of our society. It means to preserve future generations and to acknowledge that what we do can have an impact on others on the world. Then we have the intellectual. Intellect is the rational cognitive power of a human being, and this comes from intellectus, and is the result of the union of two components of that language. That's Latin, the prefix inter, which is synonymous of between, and the word lectus, which can be translated as chosen. And intellectual sustainability encompasses the capacity of a country to develop intellectual resources for its development, and most importantly, to retain this knowledge to achieve its growth. Then we have economical. Economics is a social science that studies the processes of extraction, production, exchange, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. In a figurative sense, economy means rule and moderation of expenses. This word comes from the Latin oikonomia, that this is in turn from the Greek, which is derived from the union of the Greek terms oikos, which mean house, and nomos, that is norm. And economic sustainability refers to the practices that support long-term economic growth without negatively impact social, environmental, and cultural aspects of the community. And it is necessary to adopt an appropriate accounting system in order to guide the economy in a good way. Then we have the ecological. The World Conservation Strategy was published in 1980, becoming one of the most encouraging developments that uses a goal-oriented program for a political change concerning ecology sustainability. Ecological sustainability includes everything that is connected with Earth ecosystems. Amongst other things, this includes the stability of climate systems, the quality of air, land and water, also, the land use, and soil erosion. Obviously, there also includes biodiversity, that is the diversity of both species and habitats, and ecosystems. Ecology is a branch of biology in which the interactions between living beings with the habitats where they are found are studied and analyzed. That is, the relationships that exist between biotic factors and abiotic factors. Then we have the political. The politics is the science of governing a state or nation, and also an art of negotiation to reconcile interests. The term comes from the Latin politicus, and this term from the Greek politica, a derivation of polis that designates what is public, or politicals, which means civil, related to the organization of the city or the affairs of the citizen. Political sustainability are closely linked to the processes of democratization and the construction of citizenship, and also incorporates the self-determination requirements of indigenous people or local communities in relation to centralized powers and the claims of equality and in participation of the people. Finally, we have the spiritual. Spirituality is the knowledge, acceptance, or cultivation of the material essence of oneself, of ourselves. Spirituality is a word that derived from the Greek and is composed of the voice spiritus, which means breath, and alis, which refers to what is related to. Also the suffix dat, which indicates quality. Therefore, etymologically, spirituality is everything related to the quality of the spiritual or spirit. Well, there are documents and texts from the 1940s that mention spirituality as a pillar of sustainability. And why is this important? Because changing the world begins with healing our deepest wounds, which creates a lasting ripple effect on the others and the planet itself. We all, we all too often try to change the outside, but we ignore what is inside. Well, spirituality allows us to live responsibly. It makes human beings patient, open, accessible, understanding, and creative.
Okay, now about the International Sustainable Enterprise. Firstly, let me explain a little concept. The concept of sustainable business can be explained as doing more with less, besides sustainable production and consumption. It also entails being more efficient maximins. It requires you to take the responsibility for development sustainability. Sustainability development means today needs without compromising the ability of future generations to satisfy their own. Your management of sustainability can be split into three dimensions that together contribute to sustainable development, and that is the economic, environment, and social. Now, what makes an enterprise sustainable? Firstly, create a green team. Put a sustainable leadership team in place. Ideally, the group will include those passionate about the causes you're trying to invest in. Another is educate your employees. Take time to educate them on why you are choosing to adopt a green business platform and what things they can do to help. And another very important is to the other companies. If there is a local company that has been running an eco-friendly business model for a while, ask them if they will mentor you and help you figure out where you should make improvements. Now, get to know your supply chain. If you're truly committed to an eco-friendly future, you must make some hard decisions about your supply chain. Considering the packaging you use and whether it's recyclable or recyclable. And now some examples about this kind of enterprises. Firstly, it's the Arca Continental. It's from Mexico. It has water saving and replacement projects such as Rainmaker, recognized in 2012 by international water associations and the International Reforestation Program. Now, Cemex, it has reduced the emission of dust in production plants by more than 30%. Bimbo, the energy consumption per unit produced has decreased by 20% and the use of water by almost 25% from 2009 to date. Okay, now in conclusion, the goal of the sustainable development is to meet the needs of today without compromising the needs of the tomorrow. This means we cannot continue using the current levels of resources as this will not leave enough for future generations. To achieve sustainable development, the two primary objectives must be applied simultaneously, interacting with one another in a consistent, committed effort. We can apply this in personal lives like get yourself product bags, keep plants in your home or plant them outside, walk, bike, or carpool to work. In professional lives, we can choose the LEDs bulbs. The choice of the LEDs bulbs rather than conventional bulbs. Choosing renewable energy over the fossil, it's a great way to stop climate change and doing your part in making things happen. Install solar panels for solar water heating. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce your need to buy new products. If there is less waste, then there is less to recycle or reuse. Thank you.